replicated in Section 20 of the Foreign Service Act, Cap 185E. Pursuant to Article 132E of the Constitution and the Foreign Service Act, Consular General, being a consular representative, is subject to vetting. Further, Section 2 of the Foreign Service Act defines a head of mission to mean an ambassador, high commissioner, permanent representative, a consul general, or an officer acting in that capacity. That's why, Honorable Speaker, we arrived at that decision that consul generals should be subjected to vetting, and all those that were posted without vetting are deemed to be unfit, and they should be recalled, and we vet them and they go through the necessary approval process. Honorable Speaker, the Departmental Committee on Defense and Foreign Relations is one of the departmental committees of this House, established under Standing Order 216, whose mandate pursuant to Standing Order 2165 includes to vet and report on all appointments where the Constitution or any law requires the National Assembly to approve. Honorable Speaker, the subjects of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations are stated on the second schedule of the standing orders. Honorable Speaker, committee report before the House details the proceedings during the approval hearing of the 27 persons nominated for appointment to the offices of High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Permanent Representatives, and Consuls General. The purpose of the vetting was to ascertain their suitability to discharge the responsibility of the officers they had been nominated to serve in. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Article 132(2)(e) of the Constitution, as read together with Section 3 of the Public Appointment Parliamentary Act, which I have stated earlier. Honorable Speaker, your office, pursuant to Standing Order 42-1, made a communication dated 21st March 2024, conveying to the members of the National Assembly the message from His Excellency the President. You subsequently referred the names of the nominees and their CVs to the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations for approval hearings. While referring to the matter to the committee, you directed that the committee undertake the vetting exercise and report to the House on or before Tuesday, 16 April 2024. Honorable Speaker, in compliance with Article 118 of the Constitution, Section 6, Sub-Article 4(9) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7, the Clerk of the National Assembly placed an advertisement on the print media on Saturday, 23rd of March 2024, informing the public of the nomination date, time, and place of the approval hearing. He also invited the public to submit memoranda by way of written statements on oath, or rather affidavit, on the suitability of the nominees. The memoranda were to be received on or before Tuesday, 2nd April 2024. Honorable Speaker, further, the Clerk of the National Assembly wrote to the Kenya Revenue Authority, Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, DCI, Higher Education Loans Board, and the Office of Registrar of Political Parties, seeking information on nominees relating to their ethics and integrity, tax compliance, criminal records, higher education loan board payment, and political parties affiliations. All responses, Honorable Speaker, were favorable except the EACC, which stated that it had received adverse reports against 1, Mr. David Kiplangat Kerich, 2, Ekitela Erastus Lokale, and number 3, Honorable Joash Arthur Maangi. On Mr. David Kiplangat Kerich, the nominee as an ambassador to Washington, D.C., USA, the Commission stated that the nominee was adversely mentioned in a matter under investigation involving recruitment irregularities in Baringo County Assembly Service Board. 2, Honorable Speaker, Mr. Ekitale Erastus Lokale, the nominee as a permanent representative, New York, USA, the Commission noted that the nominee was adversely mentioned in a matter under investigation involving alleged embezzlement of car and mortgage funds in Turkana County Assembly. On Honorable Josh Arthur Mangi, the nominee is the High Commissioner, Kampala, Uganda, the Commission stated that a recommendation to charge the nominee and other persons was made in a matter relating to the National Housing Project to the DPP. However, the DPP returned the file to EACC for further investigations. The committee observed the three nominees were still under investigation by EACC and had not been charged and convicted in a court of law. Article 50, Subarticle 2A of the Constitution provides that every accused person has the right to be presumed innocent until the contrary is proved. Therefore, it will have been premature to the committee to adjudge
The nominees guilty of undisclosed offences when the due process had not been carried out. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Vincent Kemosi Mogaka, our nominee for as a High Commissioner for Accra, Ghana, notified the Clerk of the National Assembly of his withdrawal from the approval proceedings pursuant to Section 610 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Act, Act Cap 7F. The remaining 26 nominees appeared before the committee from Thursday 4th to Thursday 11th April 2024. The committee examined their suitability based on the criteria set out in Section 6, 7, and 8 and Section 7 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act, Cap 7. The committee focused on their academic credential, professional training, experience, personal integrity, and background. The procedure used in their nomination, constitutional and statutory requirements relating to the office of the head of mission, and the general suitability of the nominees for the appointments proposed. Honorable Speaker, the committee considered the nominees filled the questionnaire pursuant to Section 6.8 of the Public Appointment Parliamentary Approvals Act, Cap 7, their CV, and having had their oral submissions during the approvals hearing, made specific observations on each of the nominees, and the following are the general observations. 1. Honorable Vincent Mugaka Kemosi, nominee for High Commission, Accra, Ghana, vide a letter dated 8 April 2024, notified the Clerk of the National Assembly of his withdrawal from the approval process pursuant to Section 610 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approvals Act. Therefore, his nomination lapsed. 2. All the nominees.
Order, honorable members, order. The consultations are too loud.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Consultations are too loud. Let's reduce so that we can hear. Those who are holding illegal kamkunjis, break them up and take your seats.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Number 2, all the nominees who appeared before the committee are Kenyan citizens and do not hold dual citizenship in conformity with Article 78 of the Constitution. Number 3, all the nominees committed not to participate in any other gainful employment while serving as state officers as required under Article 77(1) of the Constitution. Number 4, in accordance with Article 77(2) of the Constitution and the Schedule of Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval, Cap 7F, none of the nominees holds office in any political party. The nominees indicated compliance with Article 75 and 76 of the Constitution. They indicated non-existence of potential conflict of interest and committed to declare any should it arise. By the set deadline, Honorable Speaker, of receipt of memoranda from members of the public, the committee had received one submission for Mr. John Kativi Mweke, expressing his support for the nomination of Ms. Caroline Kamende Daudi as High Commissioner, Kenya to Ottawa, Canada. The EACC, in response to a request for information on the nominees, pointed out that it had not undertaken any investigations pursuant to his mandate against the 24 nominees, nor had it recommended prosecution of any of them save for Mr. David Kiplangat Kerich, Mr. Ekitale Rastas Lokale, and Honorable Justice Arthur Mangi.
The three nominees are still under investigations by EACC, have not been charged and convicted in any law of court. Article 50, sub-article 2A of the Constitution provides that every accused person has the right to be presumed innocent until the contrary is proved. Therefore, it would have been premature for the committee to adjudge the nominees guilty of any undisclosed offenses. Therefore, the nominations to Honorable Speaker met the threshold of the two-third gender principle and regional balance in line with Article 27(3) and 231(1)(h) of the Constitution. 25 out of 26 nominees who presented their academic and professional credentials and made oral submissions during the approval hearings demonstrated their suitability for appointment in accordance with provisions of Section 67(7) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Act, Cap 7. Pursuant to Article 2321G of the Constitution, read with Section 7C of the Public Appointment Parliamentary Approvals Act, 7F, the committee is required to consider the suitability of the nominees for the proposed appointment having regard to the values and principles of public service, particularly meritocracy as the basis of appointment. The nominee for Counsel General, Goma, and this is where I want honorable members to really listen to me. The nominee for Counsel General Goma, DRC, Mr. Charles Githinji Keiru, demonstrated a glaring lack of knowledge on the position of Counsel General and the station to which he was nominated to serve. As such, the nominee does not possess the requisite abilities, qualities, knowledge, and experience, thus unsuitable for appointment as Counsel General to Goma, DRC. Honorable members, I want to beg that I enumerate and demonstrate to this House why Congo is an extremely important station. Kenya's role as an anchor state and guarantor of regional peace and security continues to inform the country's indispensable role in fortifying the regional peace and security architecture. Likewise, the country's foreign policy remains a key cog in the advancement of purposeful regional integration and peaceful coexistence, both central to Kenya's socio-economic growth and development agenda. To this end, Honorable Speaker, the continual promotion, protection, and projection of Kenya's interests regionally and globally has to remain in line with the object and purpose of the country's aspiration, and further calls for a diplomatic workforce that is nimble, fit for purpose, and that is alive to regional geostrategic circumstances. The significance of Congo. Kenya sits on the confluence of the three important regions of Africa. That is the East African region, the Horn of Africa, the Great Lakes region. Kenya's peace and prosperity, and therefore the country's economic and political ambitions are inextricably tied to a peaceful and secure region. In this respect, Honorable Speaker, Kenya remains proud of the fact that the DRC is a member of the East African community. It offers us hope that the resulting trade and investment will improve the lives of the East Africans. We have also used the occasion to integration to pursue long-desired stabilization of the Eastern DRC through the efforts of the East African-led regional force, rather called ECRAF. Accordingly, the importance of centrality of the Kenya's consulate in the city of Goma, Eastern DRC, in the promotion of the friendly relations, as well as advancing Kenya's economic, commercial trade, as well as security interests, cannot be overemphasized, Honorable Speaker. I will try and summarize. Clear, nuanced, and sophisticated understating of the regional peace and security architecture of the Great Lakes regions, as well as thoughtful and vital appreciation of key factors that inform Kenya's economic diplomacy tenets are key components expected of Kenya's democratic agent to Goma. The Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations of the National Assembly regrets that the nominee for the post of Counsel General to the Kenya's consulate in Goma has failed to demonstrate the comprehensive range of technical, academic, and professional skills that will be vital in anchoring Kenya's economic, commercial, trade, and security interests in the DRC. Furthermore, given the tenets of diplomatic signaling that inherent in foreign relations between states and desires in maintaining friendly and cordial relations with countries of the region, deploying the aforementioned nominee to Goma will be detrimental to both the strategic and long-term interests in the region. Honorable Speaker, I will try and summarize. Let me go to the case of Ambassador Moi Lamochira, nominee to Tokyo, Japan, for instance. Ambassador Moi Lamochira is a career diplomat in Addis Ababa, Dublin, Bangkok, and Kuala Lumpur, underscores his proficiency in representing Kenya's interests on the global stage and fostering international relations. His extensive diplomatic portfolio positions him as a seasoned diplomat with expertise and leadership qualities to navigate the complex international landscape and promote Kenya's diplomatic interests effectively. I will also refer to the case of Ms. Gertrude Nyeusi Angote, our nominee as a permanent representative to UNEM. This nominee, Honorable Speaker, was one of the best of those that we vetted. Ms. Gertrude Angote's career trajectory reflects a distinguished path characterized by a wealth of experience and expertise in environmental law and climate justice. As an award-winning senior legal and environmental law advisor, she has demonstrated exceptional proficiency in various domains, including research and innovation and policy and governance. Her roles as a program director and public interest litigator in Kituo cha Sheria, she worked with one of our honorable members, Honorable Emilio Diambo, underscores her commitment to advancing environmental justice both nationally and internationally. With her extensive background on qualification, I have seen my time is up. I will summarize as such, Honorable Speaker. We must attach a lot of significance to the people that we send to the missions. You will, many of you, if you watched the U.S. ambassador to Kenya, Ambassador Meg Whitman, during, if you give me one more minute, Honorable Speaker, during our pitch in the Silicon Valley, when the president had visited the United States, you will understand why you need someone of that stature as an ambassador. That person is the face of the country. That is the face of the president of the country. What they speak, how they attract investment to a country is extremely important. And as such, we need people that will not only market Kenya as a destination, but are able to articulate Kenya's interest abroad and become the real face of the Kenyan people and the missions that they are representing. Honorable Speaker, I will have had many to say, but allow me to end it there by summarizing that the committee then resolved that henceforth Council Generals should undergo the vetting. I've mentioned that. Honorable Speaker, I will end it there, and I beg to move and urge the House to adopt this report. I now request Honorable Major Retired Sheikh Abdullahi Bashir, my Vice Chairperson, to second the motion.
Yes, where's the Vice Chair? Bashir, proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I wish to second the motion that this House approves the appointment of the 25 out of the 27 persons nominated for appointment as High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Permanent Secretaries, and Consul Generals, and equally resolves to reject the nomination of the nominee for DRC Congo. Honorable Speaker, the office of the High Commissioners and Ambassadors, Permanent Representatives, or Consul General is an office under the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Diaspora Affairs. Ministry of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. Honorable Speaker, during the approval hearings, the committee paid due regard to the procedures used to arrive at the nominees. the constitutional or statutory requirements relating to the offices and suitability of the nominees for appointment proposed having regard to whether the nominees' abilities, experience, and qualities meet the needs of the country's foreign service. Honorable Speaker, upon conclusion of the approval hearings, the committee scrutinized the personal, academic, and career background of 5 out of the 26 that appeared before us, who presented their academic and professional credentials and made oral submissions during the approval hearings, demonstrated their stability for appointment in accordance with the provisions of Section 6(7) of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approvals Act, Cap 7F. Honorable Speaker, quite a number of them, and if I may just pick a few of them, who appeared before the committee and performed exceptionally. One of them is Lieutenant General Jonah Mwangi, who was actually a former Vice Chief of Defense Forces for the Kenya Defense Forces. Lieutenant General Mwangi actually served over 40 years in the Kenya Defense Forces and has demonstrated that he's an officer with capacity and capabilities to be able to serve in such a station where he's posted, which is Iran. Another nominee is Ms. Caroline Kamende Daudi, the nominee for Ottawa, Canada. This lady is a seasoned litigation advocate, well experienced, and actually demonstrated capacity and skills during the vetting. And that shows that she's capable to serve in Kenya and represent the country in Ottawa, Canada. Another nominee is Lieutenant General Peter Mbogo, who was the immediate former Army Commander of the Kenya Defense Forces, assistant officer. And these two officers generally, the Lieutenant General Mbogo and Lieutenant General Mwangi, are officers that I have served with personally while I served in the military some years back. And I can vouch for their character and their discipline, and of course, their background and their additional experiences. Honorable Speaker, another nominee that actually performed exceptionally well is Adan Mohammed, nominee as the Consul General in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. During the hearing, this nominee responded to questions posed by the committee with clarity. He has served in various missions within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and has capacity to do and to join the diplomatic corps at that kind of a level. He goes to Saudi Arabia, Jeddah, and I'm sure this is the first time that we have a Consul General in Jeddah, and this is a good step so that he can serve the Kenyans going to Jeddah and Saudi Arabia. Honorable Speaker, on the issue of the nominee that the committee has rejected, it is good to note that the nominee for DRC Congo actually did not demonstrate that he has the capacity, the skills, and the competence to serve in DRC. Remember, DRC is a complex country, and that it requires somebody with a lot of capacity, somebody with a lot of educational background, somebody with a lot of experience and skills. It's unfortunate that the nominee did not actually meet the cut. Honorable Speaker, I wish to assure the House and the country that we have the right individuals to steer our foreign policy in the respective stations. We therefore recommend that the National Assembly approves the appointment of the 25 persons to serve as High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Permanent Representatives, and Consul Generals in the respective stations, and rejects the nominee of Mr. Charles Githinji Kairu as Consul General for Goma in DRC. We further recommend that the House resolves that henceforth Consul Generals should undergo vetting and their nomination by the authority, and that the appointing authority recalls the current serving Consul Generals not vetted for vetting and approval by the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, I wish to second the motion and urge the House to adopt this report and agree with the committee. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and I second.
Order, honorable members, take your seats. Order, take your seats. Daoud. Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose the question at order 8. which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations in its report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment as High Commissioners, Ambassadors, Permanent Representatives, and Consuls General laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 16 April 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 132(2)(e) of the Constitution, Section 22 of the Foreign Service Act 2021, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House, 1, approves the appointment of the following persons as High Commissioners. 1. Catherine Kirumba Karemu, London, United Kingdom. Honorable Joash Adha Maangi, Kampala, Uganda. Honorable Lilian Tomitom, Lusaka, Zambia. Ms. Caroline Kamende Daoud, Ottawa, Canada. Lieutenant General Peter Mbogo Njiru, Islamabad, Pakistan. Ambassadors, Honorable Frederick Otieno Outa, Cairo, Egypt. Professor Anne Kisaka Nangulu, Dakar, Senegal. Mr. Timothy Kaluma Mcharo, Algiers, Algeria. Honorable Christopher Andrew Langat, Abidjan, Ivory Coast. Ms. Jessica Mudhoni Gakinya, Rabat, Morocco. Honorable Halima Yusuf Mucheke, The Hague, Netherlands. Mr. David Kiplagat Kerich, Washington, D.C., USA. Ms. Evelyn Mwenda Karisa, Havana, Cuba. Dr. Peter Mutuku Mathuki, Moscow, Russia. Ambassador Moi Lemoshira, Tokyo, Japan. Mr. Kenneth Milimo Nganga, Abu Dhabi, UAE. Lieutenant General John Amwangi, Tehran, Iran. Mr. Abdi Aden Korio, Muscat, Oman. Permanent representatives. Ms. Gertrude N. Angote, United Nations Environment Program, UNEP. Ms. Permanent Rep, Geneva. Mr. Ekitela Erastus Locale, United Nations, New York. Consuls General, Mr. Ezra Chiloba, Los Angeles, USA. Mr. Aden Mohamud Mohammed, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Mr. David Iboko Lokemer, Dubai, UAE. Rejects the appointment of Mr. Charles Gidinji Keiru as Consul General, Goma, Democratic Republic of Congo, and resolves that henceforth Consul Generals should undergo vetting after nomination by the appointing authority as required by the Constitution, and that the appointing authority recalls any Consul General who is serving without requisite approval by the National Assembly to undergo the necessary approval process. Yes, Kainan. Honorable members, I want us to agree. I had said I wanted us to take about 30 minutes on this so that we go back to order number 7. So if you allow me, can I give 2-2? Then we put the question. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, 3-3, then I'll put the question. Kainan?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the interface between Kenya and the outside world. But Mr. Speaker, before I make my informed contribution on this, let me invoke the provision of the standing order and declare that 2 of the nominees, Ms. Anne Nangulu was my lecturer at Moi University, a very able young lady, highly intelligent, and I'm glad that the President has nominated her in order to utilize her expertise in history and governance. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I want to also go on record that Ms. Caroline Kamene is actually my advocate on record, and I want to thank the President for nominating her
as our High Commissioner nominee to Canada. Mr. Speaker, having said this, the history of diplomatic engagements started in 1948 with Westphalia peace treaty between the Emperor of Rome, the King of France, and the Allies, Mr. Speaker. And that again later on led to the Vienna Convention of 1960 again, Mr. Speaker, which provided for the